It was a cosmopolitan group of what I would describe as US eminence.
Was that his appeal then? Was that what because you were perceived by the public as being the party prince. Was that something you shared?
I think that's also a bit of a stretch. I don't know why I've collected that title, because I never have really partied. I was single for quite a long time in the early 80s. But then after I got married, I was very happy, and I've never really felt the need to go and party. And certainly going to Jeffrey's was not about partying. Absolutely not.
All right. Well, here's what I'm seeing right out of the gate on that one. When he shakes his head no while he's saying yes. That's after right there, the first question. And then he says, I've never felt the need to party. And you see the classic half shrug that goes into that. Again, about his foot, it's not about partying. That's when his foot goes up for the first time. We see that blockage go up. Then we see his limbic system kicking in, because he's starting to dawn on him, or he's starting to feel just a little bit of heat at that point. His nostrils flare a little bit, and his eyes close. His eyes close all the way, actually. And when he's finished giving this statement, you can, as he's doing this, he's rubbing his fingers like in the fashion of, okay, there's one down of an accomplishment. In other words, when you see that. So he gives that a sigh of relief as he's going through, got through that one. That went well. And Chase, you're right. When he's looking over to our right, that's when he's recalling what he's heard. Now, you know my feelings on eye accessing, you and Greg do. But, what are you going to do? That's where he's going for remembering things anyway. That's where his eyes head. So what are you seeing, Mark?
Yeah, so nice baseline there on that was his appeal. Yeah, so he does an upward inflection on that. I think he's jumping there on this gift of compliance. Yeah, and we're going to see this later on. And I think what we're going to see is the interviewer cleverly use that signal of, I just won, to then move in for the attack, because she knows at this point she's got him optimistic about this. So that was his appeal. Yeah. And up his voice goes, and he jumps on this gift. He's got to comply to that point. Now, we see at this point, that second, that's a bit of a stretch. But instead of doing the descriptor, he's now clasped together. My guess would be that means that it's a different stretch from the first stretch. In fact, it's not a stretch. Else he would have described it, I believe, in some way. We see his blink rate go up, and I'm sure Chase will talk about that. I think we hear the name of Jeffrey used in just Jeffrey, not Epstein, Jeffrey. And the tonality of it seems to feel quite friendly. Yeah. So let me leave it there.
Okay. Chase, what do you got?
We see a lot in this. We're going to see a lot in all these.
Yeah.
But we got a really good baseline here about how he has truthful conversations. He's talking about when he was younger and when he was married, he makes about 50% eye contact. So when we're talking to a person, and anytime you talk to a person, we ask them a few questions that are general, that they have no reason to lie to. And we see that when he's being truthful, he looks off to the side and he makes less eye contact. So he tends to make a ton, like 100% just about, of eye contact when he's trying to be a little bit deceptive. We also have another thing here. This is the first, he mentions Jeffrey's name in a very friendly way, but it's also the only time you will ever hear it. And this is, in our field, this is something we call psychological distancing or severity softening, where we don't say the person's name. I did not have sex with that woman. Phrases like that.
Greg, what do you got?
Yeah, a few things. One, he's redefining party. If you notice, it's his stress word in the entire thing. What he defines as party and what you define as party, I would guarantee would be different. And his idea of partying is probably back to your tiger thing. They might be clowns involved. So this is one of those times that he's redefining that word if you listen to the stress. He does something I call sacred space. He's closed up and he starts to mill his hands. That's an adapter and a barrier. What you're doing, and the reason I call it sacred space, is you're taking control, giving yourself a new place, giving yourself room, and then making familiar the unfamiliar. And it is a comforting move, but also a blocking move to give yourself some room. He drops his chin. He has his chin down, his brow up, his eyes are closed, and his respiration increases. And you'll notice he's drifting, when he opens his eyes, he's drifting down to the left. Down to the left is a different place than directly left. When a person's accessing memory, typically on their left, and now this is where, Scott, I do believe in eye movement, and I do think it's powerful. You need to baseline someone. But if I ask you to calculate 15% of 980 and you try it, you're going to find an internal conversation about math going on in your head, and your eyes are going to drift slightly down into your left in most people. Now, you baseline each person and figure it out, but over and over and over, when he's walking through a minefield, you see that activity, that down left, as he's thinking about what to say next and walking through it. I agree with you 100%, Mark, that in the case of him going, yeah, he just felt a bite on the line and he's going to let her run with it, and he's teasing her to get her to go. This is a great start down the tunnel. She understands what's happening. He doesn't think she does. And the last thing I'll leave you at, you can see the flirt in him here. You can certainly see the flirt when he makes eye contact and he turns his head but still keeps eye contact and then draws, that pulling taffy move. That's the flirt, right? That's the draw you into my space and make it, remembering that he is, after all, a real prince, not a fairy tale prince, right?
Excellent. Anybody else?
Yeah, I mean, one thing I want to put on this is in the business of lying, you can't be lazy about it. If you're going to lie, you've really got to have a good understanding of what evidence is out there. When it comes to, I'm not really anybody who really partied. Just there's too much evidence that that's not accurate. And so everything from now on has been diminished for him because we have an image of Andrew in our head. And he's suggesting that we're not right. Well, this is kind of a gaslighting tactic. He's going, no, reality isn't as you've seen it for the last several decades. Well, that's going to be hard for for public opinion to stomach.
It was a cosmopolitan group of what I would describe as US eminence.
Was that his appeal then? Was that what because you were perceived by the public as being the party prince. Was that something you shared?
I think that's also a bit of a stretch. I don't know why I've collected that title because I never have really partied. I was single for quite a long time in the early 80s. But then after I got married, I was very happy, and I've never really felt the need to go and party. And certainly going to Jeffrey's was not about partying. Absolutely.
If you like this video, get the full body language breakdown and analysis on our main channel by clicking this video right here.